There is a power hidden in the minds of men that lies dormant until summoned by decision, and one of the most powerful decisions you can ever make is to act as if nothing hurts you. Now I say act. Not because you should deny reality, not because pain is not real, but because the way you respond to pain determines whether it becomes your downfall or your ladder to power. Life does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are willing to endure. Without breaking, when you walk into a room, do not drag your wounds behind you. Do not carry your heartbreak in your voice. Do not let the world see the cracks in your spirit, unless you intend to show them how you rebuilt yourself. To act as if nothing hurts you is not deception, it is direction. It is the act of placing yourself above your circumstances. It is the understanding that while you may be struck, you are not defeated. You may feel pain, but you are not pain. The fire may surround you, but you do not burn. Why? Because you have made the choice, I will master this moment, I will own this trial, I will rise without complaint. You must understand that the world is constantly watching. People may not say it, but they are always observing, and those who carry themselves with unshakable calm, even in times of storm, those who seem untouchable, untamed, unstoppable, those are the ones who rise to positions of influence. They are admired, respected, and followed. There is no honor in living a life ruled by emotion. If every insult pierces your pride, if every failure cripples your focus, if every pain writes itself into your identity, then you will live as a servant to suffering. But if you resolve today, this hour, to wear your scars like medals and move through every hardship with your head held high, you will become something rare in this world. Act as if nothing hurts you, not to deceive others, but to remind yourself of who you are. You are not weak, you are not fragile, you are not meant to break at every inconvenience. The fire in you is meant to be refined through pressure. Now understand this. Pain is a visitor, it is not a tenant. It comes to test, not to stay. And when you learn to stand tall in the presence of pain, you develop something no money can buy: character, discipline, inner steel. And once these things are in your possession, there is nothing, no storm, no loss, no betrayal, that can undo you. You may stumble, you may bleed, but you must never surrender your spirit. You must walk forward as if your destiny were already secured, as if no blow could alter your mission. That is the essence of strength. That is how leaders are formed. That is how legacy is written. Let others complain. Let others cry out for sympathy. You will rise in silence. You will endure with dignity. You will conquer with your composure. Act as if nothing hurts you, and soon you will discover that nothing can. There comes a time in every man's life when he must decide, once and for all, whether he will be ruled by pain or whether he will rise in spite of it. Pain itself is not the enemy. No, pain is the messenger, the signal, the awakener of potential that lies dormant in the soul of man. And yet most recoil when pain arrives. They surrender at the door of discomfort. But I tell you this: those who achieve greatness have one trait in common. They respond to pain in a way that transforms it into fuel. Understand this truth deeply. Life will test you. It is meant to test you. You cannot become steel without fire. You cannot possess power without resistance. And you certainly cannot master your future until you first master your response to adversity. When the world strikes you, when it takes from you, mocks you, breaks you, or forgets you, what you do in that moment reveals your destiny. Not what you say, not what you intend, but what you do. You see, most people spend their lives reacting. They are ruled by what happens to them. Someone insults them. They feel offended. They fail once. They give up. They feel hurt. They show it to everyone they meet, hoping for sympathy, begging for understanding. But life does not reward the man who collapses. It rewards the one who remains unmoved in the storm, whose eyes stay fixed on the mountain top even when his feet are stuck in the mud. Now listen closely. Your response to pain must be one of decisive action. You must act as if the pain means nothing. not because you are in denial, but because you are in control. To act as if nothing hurts you is to seize the power that pain tries to take from you. It is to declare with your conduct, "You may strike me, but you will not stop me. I may feel this, but I will not become this." And what happens when you respond this way? Life begins to shift. You begin to shift. Pain, once your enemy, becomes your teacher. Failure, once your fear, becomes your foundation. You start to see what others do not see, that every blow is a blessing, every loss a lesson, every hardship a hidden seed of strength. While others panic, you plan. While others fall, you rise. And while others explain their defeat, you execute your vision. There is a silent nobility in acting as if nothing hurts you. It does not mean you feel no pain. It means you refuse to let pain dictate your path. Every champion you admire, every man or woman of strength, carries pain behind their victories. But they chose to respond with discipline, not despair. They acted in faith, not fear. They moved forward, even when everything inside them screamed to stop. This is not about pride, it is about power, it is about choosing a higher response when pain comes, and it will come. You must remind yourself, I am greater than this moment, I am stronger than this sensation, I am the master of my mind, not the victim of my condition, and then you move. You act, you execute with excellence, with integrity, with persistence, as if nothing hurts you. The reward for this kind of response is not always instant, but it is inevitable, because life always yields to those who remain steadfast in their purpose. The universe aligns itself with the man who is unmoved by trials and unshaken by trouble. That man who refuses to bend, who refuses to complain, who wears his pain with quiet honor, is the one who shapes history. And so, I say to you, do not run from pain, do not collapse under the weight of disappointment. Stand up, straighten your back, set your jaw like flint, and act as if nothing hurts you, because in time you will realize that the pain you thought would destroy you was actually the very thing that delivered you. The world is not shaped by noise, it is shaped by presence. In every gathering, in every room, on every stage where decisions are made and futures are forged, there exists a silent force more powerful than words. That force is composure, the ability to stand firm, look steady, and hold your ground even when the winds of adversity howl around you. That, my friend, is the mark of one destined for greatness. It is not the loudest man who leads, but the calmest. The man who commands the moment without speaking a word. He walks into a room and his energy precedes him, not because he boasts, not because he demands attention, but because he embodies control. While others react, he reflects. While others tremble, he thinks. While others fall apart under pressure, he moves with intention, as though no weight has ever touched his shoulders. This kind of composure is not inherited, it is earned. It is forged through the decision to master yourself in the furnace of life. You cannot fake it. You cannot pretend for long. Composure must be built, decision by decision, thought by thought, until you become the kind of person who radiates certainty even in uncertainty. People do not follow weakness, they follow strength. Silent, steady, unshaken strength. Think of the individuals who rise to power in any arena. What do they have in common? Not panic, not drama, not emotional chaos. They possess presence. They carry a look in their eyes that says, I have been through storms you could not imagine, and I am still standing. That look is not born from ease. It is born from the discipline of self-command. Now I must tell you something most men do not realize. The world is always watching, not just when you perform well, but especially when you suffer. They observe how you respond to insult, how you handle failure, how you carry your burdens. And in those moments, when pain presses you, when pressure surrounds you, that is when your true influence is either won or lost. If you collapse, complain, or curse your circumstances, you forfeit your power. But if you hold your peace, if you remain composed even when the odds seem against you, you rise above the fray. You separate yourself from the masses. You become the man who does not need to prove his strength, because his strength proves itself. And let us not forget, composure does not mean passivity. It does not mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time without frenzy, without desperation. It means speaking when speech is needed and remaining silent when silence is power. It means acting not from fear or ego, but from clarity and purpose. A composed man is feared by the wicked and trusted by the wise. He is never underestimated, for others sense that he holds power they do not understand. They feel his focus, his restraint, his intensity beneath the surface, and they respect it, even if they don't say so aloud. But remember this, composure must begin within. You cannot appear calm on the outside while chaos rules your mind. You must discipline your thinking. You must feed your mind with purpose and protect it from doubt. You must practice restraint in the small moments, for they are the training ground for the great ones. Control your tone when tempted to shout. Control your pace when rushed. Control your emotions when insulted. For every time you choose composure, you become a little more powerful, and in time, this practice becomes your nature. You become unbothered by small things. You become immune to panic. You develop a quiet strength that cannot be stolen, a kind of calm that confuses your enemies and comforts your allies. So I say to you, carry yourself with dignity. Hold yourself like a king, even if the crown has not yet been placed upon your head. Let your actions speak before your words. Let your presence speak louder than your pain. Move through this world with composure, and the world will move for you. There is no greater battlefield than the space between a man's ears. That is where wars are won and lost, long before the world sees the outcome, and the man who learns to act strong, even when he feels weak, is the man who has discovered the secret of all lasting achievement, mental discipline. Too many believe that strength is a feeling. They wait for confidence before they move. They wait for courage before they speak. They wait for certainty before they act. But the truth is, strength is not a feeling. It is a decision. And the man who acts strong, regardless of how he feels, is already stronger than the one who allows emotions to govern him. To act as if nothing hurts you is to practice mental discipline in its highest form. It is not about faking. It is about choosing. You choose how to carry yourself. You choose how to respond to life. You choose whether to let pain define your presence or drive your purpose. This is not deception. It is direction. You are telling your mind, we go forward, we press on, we will not be ruled by sensation but by conviction. Think of a soldier in the heat of battle. He may be afraid, his body may shake, his thoughts may scream to run. But he stands, he moves forward, he acts with precision not because he feels brave but because he is trained to do what must be done. That, my friend, is mental discipline. It is not the absence of weakness. It is the triumph over it. Life will hand you moments where your heart is heavy, your body is weary, and your spirit is tested. But you must act strong. You must stand tall. You must meet the day as if it has no power over you. Why? Because that is how strength is built. It is not born in comfort. It is built in the furnace of restraint. When you hold your tongue instead of lashing out, when you rise instead of retreating, when you move instead of mourning. And make no mistake, when you act strong, people notice. They may not say it, they may not applaud, but they feel it. You set the tone for the room. You become the steady hand in chaos. You inspire confidence not by pretending everything is perfect, but by showing that you are unshaken even when it's not. That kind of strength creates followers. It earns trust. It opens doors that remain closed to those who let emotion dominate their character. Now here is something few understand. Every time you act from discipline instead of emotion, you grow. You gain territory within yourself. You prove to your mind that you are in charge, and in doing so, you increase your capacity. What once overwhelmed you becomes trivial. What once broke you becomes fuel. You are no longer reacting to life. You are leading it. Mental discipline is not a talent, it is a habit, and like all habits, it must be formed by repetition. Start small, control your breathing when anxious, control your tone when angry, control your posture when tired. These little acts done consistently build a man who does not flinch under pressure. You must also understand that no one will do this for you. Discipline is a self-imposed demand. It is the price of greatness. You must choose to rise each day and command your mind before the world commands it for you, and when you fail, and you will, you do not collapse into shame. You correct, you refine, you recommit. The world is filled with people who are tossed by their feelings. They are unstable, unreliable, and unfulfilled. But the man who acts strong, no matter the storm, becomes a beacon. He becomes the anchor in uncertain seas, and eventually he becomes the master of his fate, not because life spared him hardship, but because he refused to let hardship shape his behavior. So act strong. Not when you feel like it, not when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. That is where your greatness lies. And one day you will look back on the trials that once seemed impossible and realize they were the very tools that built the steel within your soul. There is a truth that escapes the notice of most men, though it stares them in the face every day. Pain is temporary, but character is eternal. The aches of today may scream loudly, but they fade. The wounds of failure, rejection, humiliation, they sting, yes, but they do not last. What endures is what those experiences make of you. What endures is the strength, the self-mastery, the unshakable will that is born from walking through suffering without surrender. Pain is a visitor. It knocks on every man's door. It does not discriminate. It comes to the rich and poor, the wise and the foolish, the bold and the fearful. But what you do when pain comes, that is where the great separate themselves from the ordinary. The ordinary man curses pain, he complains, he searches for pity, he blames the world for his discomfort, and in doing so, he forfeits the very treasure pain came to deliver. Character, you must understand this clearly, character cannot be bought. It cannot be inherited, it cannot be gifted, it must be earned, through discipline, through fire, through the daily decision to stand when it would be easier to fall. And pain is the sharpest, most faithful instrument for that development. You see, there is no courage without fear. There is no endurance without fatigue. There is no strength without resistance. A life without pain is a life without pressure, and pressure is what shapes diamonds. It is what forges warriors. It is what awakens potential. If you wish to become something more than you are, you must be willing to face discomfort and extract the lesson, not the excuse. Every great man you admire, everyone, was built in part by the trials he endured. Not by his victories alone, but by what he did when life cut him to his knees. Did he stay down? No, he got back up, and when he did, he rose not just with experience, but with character. He had seen his limits and pushed past them. He had faced adversity and refused to shrink. That choice, made in the darkness, cast a light that followed him for the rest of his days. Now, let me speak to you plainly. The pain you are facing today may feel overwhelming. But it is temporary. It will pass. What will remain is the man you became because of it. If you endure with grace, if you persevere without bitterness, if you continue moving forward when everything inside you wants to give up, you are becoming more than you ever imagined possible. You are sculpting your mind into something fierce. You are forming the habits of strength. You are becoming trustworthy, dependable, and dangerous in the best way. Character is not loud. It is not flamboyant. It is not flashy, it does not cry out for attention, it reveals itself quietly in moments of crisis. It shows up when everything is going wrong and a man still chooses to do right. It reveals itself when no one is watching and you still hold yourself to the highest standard. It shows up when you're exhausted, but you do the work anyway, not because you feel like it, but because you gave your word and make no mistake. People see character even if they can't describe it. They trust it. They are drawn to it. Opportunities flow to the man of character because people know they can rely on him. He does not bend with every wind. He does not crumble with every pressure. He stands. And in a world full of men who fall apart, the one who stands becomes a leader without ever asking for the title. So when pain comes knocking, and it will do not hide from it, do not flee, invite it in and say, I will learn from you. Let it refine you. Let it break off the weakness and expose the strength. Let it build in you a resolve that cannot be moved, because long after the pain is gone, the man it shaped will remain, and that man will have character, the kind that cannot be faked, cannot be bought, and can never be taken away. Success is not reserved for the smartest, nor the strongest, nor even the most talented. It is reserved for the master, and what must you master? Not the marketplace, not the external world, but your emotions. For the man who is ruled by his emotions is a servant, no matter how much money he earns or how much praise he receives. But the man who masters his emotions becomes the ruler of his life, his results, and his destiny. It is a hard truth, but a liberating one. You will not rise to your highest calling until you conquer the battlefield of your feelings. Emotions are part of life, yes, but they are not meant to lead your life. They are meant to inform you, not control you. Yet most men allow their moods to dictate their actions. They act in anger, they retreat in fear, they freeze in doubt, they complain in sadness, and then they wonder why their life remains small and unfulfilled. Listen to me now. Feelings are fleeting, but consequences are permanent. The emotion you obey in the heat of the moment may cost you years of progress. One outburst of anger, one decision made in fear, one lapse into self-pity, that is all it takes to destroy the momentum you worked so hard to build. And that is why emotional mastery is essential for any man who desires success that lasts. To master your emotions is not to pretend you don't feel. It is not to become cold or robotic. It is to become deliberate. It is to pause and choose your response, no matter how strong the storm inside you may be. When you feel rage rise in your chest and you choose to speak with calm authority, that is mastery. When fear knocks at your door and you move forward anyway, that is mastery. When disappointment tries to bend your back and you stand tall and press on, that is mastery. And here is the truth that every successful man has discovered. The more you master your emotions, the more power you possess in every area of life. In business, you negotiate without desperation. In relationships, you lead with clarity. In difficulty, you endure with composure. You become predictable, not to others, but to yourself. You know that you will not betray your values, your goals, or your vision because of a passing feeling. Understand this every day. Life will test you. You will be provoked. You will be misunderstood. You will be tempted to act out of emotion instead of intention. And each time you resist, you become stronger. Each time you hold your ground instead of reacting, you build an inner fortress that cannot be breached by any external force. That fortress is your foundation for greatness. Most people drift because they lack emotional discipline. They do what feels good instead of what builds good. They react instead of reflect. They indulge instead of improve, but not you. You were not born to drift. You were born to direct your life with purpose. And that means you must place reason above reaction, vision above vengeance, and purpose above pleasure. Now, this mastery is not achieved in a day. It is earned through practice. When you feel impatience rise, practice patience. When you feel offended, practice grace. When you feel overwhelmed, breathe deeply and move forward one step at a time. Over and over again, these small moments of self-control accumulate. And before you know it, you are no longer the man who is ruled by emotion. You are the man who rules with calm power, and that calm power is magnetic. It draws people to you. It gives you leverage. It gives you credibility. It gives you peace, because no matter what chaos surrounds you, you are steady, you are firm, you are composed, and that presence alone sets you apart from the masses. So I urge you, do not settle for emotional survival. Rise to emotional mastery, feel everything but be ruled by nothing. Let your actions flow not from the chaos of emotion, but from the clarity of purpose. That is the path of the uncommon man. That is the path to power, peace, and permanent success. There will come a time, perhaps many times, when life strikes at you with full force. You will be misunderstood, lied to, betrayed, overlooked, tested beyond measure. And in that very moment, you will face a choice that will define your life far more than any opportunity ever could. Will you rise above the emotion, or will you become consumed by it, to act unaffected when the world gives you every reason to collapse? This is not weakness. It is not denial, it is power. It is the unshakable strength of the man who understands this fundamental law of achievement. Control the inner world, and the outer world will bend to your will. The world does not follow the man who flinches, who vents, who sulks, who wears his wounds for all to see. It follows the one who holds his dignity in silence, who walks through the fire as though the flames cannot touch him, who keeps his focus when others lose their heads. You must become that man. You see, the strongest men are not the loudest, nor the most visibly tough. The strongest are those who can suffer in silence, work while in pain, persist when invisible, and continue doing the right thing when it feels like the world has forgotten them. They do not react to every injustice, every insult, or every blow. They absorb the sting, convert it into fuel, and move forward with more clarity, not less. And this is what most do not understand. Pretending you are unaffected is not deception. It is direction. You are not faking strength, you are choosing it. You are saying, my pain is real, but it will not lead me. You are deciding that your purpose is greater than your feelings, that your future is more important than your fury, that your mission is more vital than your mood. The man who remains emotionally consistent, who does not break when things go wrong, gains a strange and rare kind of power. People begin to lean on him. They trust him, they look to him for guidance, not because he is perfect, but because he is stable. He is the one who remains calm when the storm arrives. He does not fall apart when results delay. He does not fold when people disappoint him. He holds the line, not just for himself, but for those around him. And mark my words, the ability to act unaffected will serve you more than any diploma, any connection, any moment of talent ever could. Why? Because life is not fair, and every man must decide, will I fall apart when treated unfairly, or will I become stronger through it? The one who grows through injustice becomes immune to defeat. He becomes untouchable, not because life stops hurting him, but because he no longer lets hurt determine how he shows up. This is not easy. It takes discipline. It takes daily decisions. It takes practice. You will fail at it, you will slip, but every time you choose poise over panic, patience over rage, persistence over retreat, you harden your mind, you stretch your emotional capacity, you become a little more formidable, a little more relentless, a little more unshakable. And in time, something incredible happens. The things that once disturbed you no longer shake you. The people who once had power over your mood no longer matter. The setbacks that once made you question everything now feel like mere speed bumps. You become a man with weight, with presence, with depth. A man who can walk through fire and still lead with vision. Let the world underestimate you. Let them think you feel nothing. Let them wonder how you stay so composed. Let them never know what you had to hold back just to stay steady. That mystery becomes your weapon. That silence becomes your shield. That stillness becomes your signal that you are no longer playing the same game. So I challenge you, walk forward with that quiet, untouchable strength. Let them see you rise without flinching. Let them wonder how you do it, and never, ever let them see you broken, not because you're not in pain, but because you decided pain will not get the final word. You did.